Welcome to the Purposeful Fitness with Coach Ola, where I dive in deeper into holistic health and fitness topics that would help you stay inspired, motivated, and dedicated to living a purposeful fit life while pursuing for the Akhirah. Hey, welcome to the 20th episode with Coach Ola. Today we have Idil Farah, who is a registered nutritionist and a health educator with bachelor's in food and nutrition. She has over 10 years of experience working with clients in both a clinical and community setting. She is currently running her own multi-faceted nutrition practice, idilsworld. Alongside her practice, she also works in a community healthcare setting where she teaches both preventive health and prenatal health classes. Fundamental to Idil's practice is an integrative approach to health that is a unique blend of science, experience, both professional and personal. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the importance and how fasting can help our physical health, mental health, and spiritual health. We're going to talk about how we can have healthy suhoor that will help us maintain energy throughout the day and how to eat in the morning if we are struggling with it. We're going to talk about how to control ourselves when it comes to iftar dinners, and much more. Let's welcome Idil. Hey, Assalamu alaikum, Idil. How are you today?
Wa alaikum salam. How are you, Ola?
Alhamdulillah. We finally made it.
We did. Alhamdulillah. All in good time. This podcast was meant to happen today. So I'm grateful to be on, and alhamdulillah, blessed to be celebrating the month of Ramadan, to be blessed enough to make it for another month. We are among the lucky.
Inshallah. Yeah, may Allah help us benefit all throughout the year and especially through this month. So, Idil, tell me about yourself and what you're currently doing, besides what I just mentioned, like any more details, your story.
Yeah. Yes, for me personally, I am currently, what I'm doing is I do client work as well as work in the community, like you said, but my one-on-one practice works with clients, meeting them where they are. So we focus on their nutritional goals and their health goals. I believe that, you can't change someone from zero, take them from 0 to 100 in a day. It's a gradual process. Lifestyle change takes time. So we focus on meeting them where they are and making these changes gradually. In my community work, I do prenatal health classes, I do diabetes education, I do in-school workshops. So teaching kids and parents how to make healthy meals that are, that taste great, but also that tips and tricks, ways that they can do it because they're mostly pressed for time.
That's awesome. And how did you get into nutrition and how did you specialize really into it? Because I was reading your story on your website and it's very interesting. I would like to hear more about it, if you can share.
So it's been over 10 years. So I went to school for food and nutrition and then did the 4 years of my bachelor's degree and then an internship. But while I was working for community health, I, enjoyed doing my work and teaching and working one-on-one with people. But nutrition really didn't come into focus and it didn't become personal until I started not feeling well. It started with the simple feeling bloated and just indigestion to progressing to something that was really severe. I had leaky gut, which is, when the lining of your mucosal lining of your gut, it actually deteriorates and it causes a lot of inflammation. It took me a long time for my doctors to explain what was happening. I pursued the medical route, even though I was trying to do everything I could in the background, eating clean, eating really healthy. I was almost I wasn't having hardly any meat. I was vegetarian. I was trying to do my best to figure out what was causing this. So fast forward 2 to 3 years, it took me for my doctor to say, okay, you have IBS. And IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. It's an umbrella of that covers a host of digestive issues. But the thing that really struck me was what my doctor said that day. He said, really, we're going to give you medication to manage this. But the thing that you could do that would really make all the difference is change your diet. But we don't tell patients this because it's too severe. I did not, that to me was like perplexing, because I'm like, you would rather give me medication than tell me to change how I ate? It was difficult to understand, because A, he knew I was a nutritionist, and B, for me, I think, medication is a band-aid, right? And so the actual thing that could make the significant change was the diet portion, and that wasn't being offered so readily. So I went home, and the diet the changes that were prescribed were pretty severe. I actually had to like do my own research, and it's called FODMAP, and it's like eliminating any food that draw fluids into your stomach. So I had to eliminate any fruits or vegetables with a pit, any things like garlic, onion, a lot of grain. It was very, very strict elimination diet. So Ramadan was on the horizon, and I decided, okay, it's Ramadan. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to try to focus on just eating foods that are gentle to my digestion. And I'm going to I started an Instagram account to hold myself accountable. So really, that entire process in the 30 days of fasting and eating mostly soups and stews and things like smoothies and, really like very, very gentle food changed how I felt. I was losing a lot of hair. I had foggy brain. I had, diarrhea like really all the time. And it was just, I felt horrible all the time. I was in pain. My entire body was in inflammation. And that 30 days, subhanAllah, like just the way the person that went in that fast and the person that came out of it, and the way it changed my entire practice, it has ever since. My goal in life has been letting people know that food really is your medicine, and doing the research to back it up. And not just that, but also like looking at, allowing people, to be skeptical of this, and showing them by showing how, when they change their diet, like actually in real life practice. I'm not sure I'm saying this right, but what I'm really trying to convey is, it's one thing to tell somebody, if you change your diet, you're going to feel this way. But it's another thing to show them and to see the change happen for them. So for me, that has been the focus of my practice. The focus of all my social media outlets is making sure that people understood, really, your pharmacy is your kitchen. Don't allow a doctor to tell you how to manage your conditions or how you feel. You should be your own advocate, that you should always get a second opinion until you feel it in your gut that what you're doing is right for you. Literally continue the search, because this is your body, it's your home, and you're going to be asked. Allah will judge you on that, how you've treated your body.
So Idil, you brought really great points, and I took some notes actually. So key word that you mentioned is to change your diet. And key number 2, which is a little bit controversial, but it's important to talk about, which is to do not let the doctor tell you how to manage your life, because unfortunately, to speak the reality, healthcare is kind of like a business as well, and they're trying to sell you, to get on the medications, and it's a hot debate, and it can be really sensitive, but it's also important to really do the research for that purpose. And you mentioned a gut elimination, or what was the keyword that you said? You went on a...
It's called a FODMAP diet, and it's an elimination diet, right? So when you have a digestive issue, you want to make sure that you're eliminating any irritants. So removing things like gluten, dairy, and for this particular diet, it is foods that are drawing water into your stomach, so that cause the food to ferment and not to be digested. So when you eliminate those foods, it allows your digestion to rest and to heal and repair. So for a lot of people with digestive issues, the number one thing that's suggested is to cut foods that are irritating them, and then to wait maybe like for between 3 weeks to 6 weeks, and then bring it back in and see how they feel.
It's called fog diet.
No, FODAM.
Oh, FODAM. I have not heard. I'm gonna look it up. It's so interesting. Fodam diet, right?
So FODA. So sorry, FODMAP. So FOD. So and then MAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so
Sorry,
interesting. No, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have it in the show notes, everyone, so you guys can go back and listen to it. But that's interesting, and thank you for sharing about that. Episode is being recorded the last Friday before Ramadan, Shaban, and the episode will come out during Ramadan. How is fasting really helpful for the mind, body, and soul?
So Ramadan is an incredible month of self-regulation, self-training. It's a spiritual month. It's a month of ibadah and discipline and sacrifice, but it's a great opportunity for our bodies to gain enormous health benefit. There's a hadith that's narrated by Abu Naim that the Prophet ﷺ says, "Sumu wa tasihhu," which can translate to fast and be healthy. Ramadan, during a fast, digestion takes a lot of energy, and our body draws from all its resources to digest our food. And if we think about on a regular day, we don't go 3 hours without eating. We're constantly eating. So our digestion is constantly at work. But during a fast, after the first 8 hours of digesting the food, our digestion takes a break and the healing starts. And so our stomachs are empty. Our digestive system really gets an opportunity to heal, to repair. And then that then goes into our entire body. There is a process that is called autophagy that explains this really, really well. So after the 8 hours of using the glucose to digest for energy, our body turns into our fat stores. And our fat stores actually is where all the toxins are stored in our body. So our body can protect us from these toxins. So once we start using fat as fuel, these toxins are then released and they are then processed through the body and eliminated. So that is number one, an amazing thing that happens for us. Then what happens is cell repair is at work during this time as well. The cell, they sort of metabolize all the parts that are not working, and subhanallah, then use this metabolized energy to create new parts and use those parts as like they regenerate themselves practically. And then when that happens, that's also an incredible thing for our body. Like Ola, when I tell you, this is like detox on a whole other level, which is why intermittent fasting now is such a huge thing for a lot of people. But we get that mandatory once a year. We stop and literally focus our entire energy on this healing process. So for a lot of people who have neurodegenerative diseases like dementia and Parkinson's, something happens where the brain actually, the buildup of toxins is metabolized and processed and eliminated from the body. So that gives our brain healing time. For people who have high cholesterol, cholesterol is eliminated and metabolized, and so their cholesterol levels improve. Our blood sugar for people who have their blood sugar diabetes, this is time for insulin. We become less insulin resistant because we're metabolizing the fat stores and using fat as fuel. And we are also like improving, hopefully if we're not feasting afterwards and we're using a fast as a benefit, it really helps us completely manage chronic conditions, health conditions, heal, just be better than when we went into the fast.
SubhanAllah, yeah, because everyone is jumping on the intermittent fasting now and it's amazing. But can you explain to me further, because I need to learn more about it as well. Can you drink water with intermittent fasting or no?
Yes, you can drink water with intermittent fasting.
But with Ramadan, we can't. And that's the tricky part because when you're hungry and you drink water, you're less hungry. But when you're completely fasting, there's no water, there's no food, it gets a lot harder. So that's just because I'm starving right now. I'm like in my stomach, but I can drink water. So
right.
but it's interesting how SubhanAllah, like, as you're saying, fasting is really helpful for the entire body, in and out. So when it comes to detoxing, when you hear people say, "Oh, I'm gonna go on detox during Ramadan" and all that, how do you personally feel? And what's
So
your opinion about it as well?
so this is a natural detox anyways. So I just want to explain this. So each time we eat, the body must secrete these digestive enzymes to break down the food and move the nutrients into the bloodstream for distribution throughout the body, right? Then the digestive tract, the liver, the kidneys, the organs must work to remove the waste products for normal cellular metabolisms and toxins from the body. All of these functions require a substantial amount of energy, right? So energy that might like otherwise be going to healing. Now, when you're fasting, the body's no longer busy. It's like literally stop digesting food. You've eaten your iftar, you've eaten your suhoor. 8 hours, your body's using that, the glucose and the glycogens that's stored in the liver, like it's using that for energy. Then when that's over, your fasting body is detoxing. It's repairing the tissues, the organs, abnormal cells. I mean, tumors are being like eliminated. Again, like the toxins and natural metabolic waste, all of these things, are the first things that are taken care of, right? So it's great opportunity our body is getting to detox naturally. It's doing everything it needs. So you don't have to deprive it further of nutrients, right? Because all of this takes energy, right? So during the time you're eating, you really have to concentrate on eating nutrient dense food and eating foods that are fueling this healing process, because obviously it's hard work. So for a lot of people who go into detox, when we think detox, we think elimination, deprivation. Ramadan is time for maintenance. It's time to focus on quality of food you're eating. Eat foods that are gentle to your body. During a fast, your digestion has been sleeping. You don't want to wake it up with cold water. You don't want to wake it up with foods that are fried, that it has to work super hard to digest. You want to make sure that you're having things, starting off with things, warm water, stews, soups that are packed with vegetables, making sure that when the vegetables are cooked that way, they still retain the nutrients in the broth, and you're getting all of that, and your body, it doesn't really have to work super hard to digest that, because the part of the work is done. Also, chew, please, your stomach doesn't have teeth.
Yeah.
Chew your food, because there's digestive enzymes that are released in your mouth that tell your brain food is coming, and it literally starts the process going. So that whole thing, we shove food in our mouths and then we run to go pray, and it's really hard to then we feel like not really that well, because we've not given our digestion like any help. We didn't really chew our food. We rush through the process. We most of the time we eat a lot of rich foods. So our digestion went from like, oh my goodness, I'm healing, I'm amazing, this is great, to like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, subhanAllah. And that's a great segue to talk about what kind of suhoor we should aim for that will help us maintain our energy throughout the day then. What's your suggestion?
So for me, the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, nothing is worse than a person who fills his stomach. It should be enough for the son of Adam to have few bites to satisfy his hunger. If he wishes more, it should be 1/3 of his food, one third for food, 1/3 for liquids, and 1/3 for his breath, right?
Yep.
This is hadith sahih. We've all heard it before. When we're eating, making sure that for suhoor, you're ready to go on this journey of healing. You want to make sure that you're picking what foods that are balanced, right? That have some protein, some complex carbs that don't like that. When I say complex carbs, not all carbs are made equal. So there's simple sugars, like things like cereals and things that like give us quick energy burst, and then we're left hungry and like moody afterwards, right? But there is foods that heal the body and give you tons of energy, and it's slow release, right? So I'm talking about, basically like something I would have an oatmeal, or I would have a smoothie. I would have, if you are able, I'm not the person who eats in the morning and can go back to bed. So for me, when I have oatmeal, I put things like hemp hearts, which are high in like basically it's a complete protein. I add flaxseed for healthy fat. I add what else? Chia seeds. I add some fruits. I add like maybe a little bit of maple syrup, but like, or I eat quinoa porridge. I eat things like fool in the morning because and we're familiar. These are foods that are familiar, but like eating grains or eating when you're having a smoothie, making sure you're packing it with tons of vegetables, making sure that you're adding your flax, you're adding your hemp, you're adding your chia seed, you're adding like if you want peanut butter or almond butter or something, because this is gonna sustain you for a long time, right? So things like that I find, or omelets or that are packed with tons of vegetables. I like those egg quiches that you can have. You basically take the eggs, you put them in egg muffins and in muffin tins, and then you just add the vegetables. You could add tomatoes, kale, whatever. Like, but it's bite-sized food that is packed with tons of stuff, tons of nutrients. And I think vegetables are your greatest bang for your buck. And in terms of nutrients, in terms of quality of calories, in terms of energy wise, healing properties, minerals, they bring so much with it. So anytime you're eating suhoor, even if you're having these egg bites, make sure you have a smoothie with it, and that makes it a complete meal.
Yeah, it's so true. And for people that could be like me, and I've had questions being asked, when someone struggles to wake up for suhoor or barely on time, how can they prepare? And if they don't eat as much in the morning, like how can they work around that? Because as we know, it's from the sunnah to have suhoor and it's highly recommended, but it's a struggle for a lot of people.
So, okay, just to add to what I just said, if in your mind when you're making suhoor, you want to make sure that you have a veggie, a whole grain, a protein, some form of protein, and some form of a healthy fat, right? And we've just discussed how that could be put together. Okay, it's hard to wake up from your sleep and eat and then go back to bed and still function during your day. Like our life doesn't stop during Ramadan. But what's really, really important is making sure that you take that experience and plan ahead, meal prep. There's nothing like I make these breakfast cookies that literally all they have is I use banana as a sweetener. So I make them ahead. They go in my freezer or my fridge. I make sure I pop two of them in the either in the microwave if they're frozen, and then I make myself a smoothie and I eat that real quick and I'm back to bed. So this cookie that I'm talking about literally has some oatmeal. I put almond butter, I put a ton of seeds, I put hemp hearts, I put flaxseed, I put chia seed, and it's like literally oatmeal on the go. But you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success by having things that are easy to make in the fridge. Like your smoothie pouches, make them ahead, put them in like the freezer, and the night before, like before you go to bed, make your smoothie. So all you have to do is like use a spoon to mix it up and just drink that and go back to bed. Or
Nice.
making sure you have your smoothie next to your bed. Do whatever you have to do. If you think you can't make it out of bed, suhoor should be on a tray next to your bed, and just wake up, eat that, and go back to bed. I know it isn't the best thing, but we have to be honest with ourselves and do strategize in a way that actually works for us. What works for me is not going to work for you, but you got to make it so that you're successful, right? So if it means putting the tray next to you, then put the tray next to you.
But then how do you keep the smoothie fresh next to you? That's the question.
Right? Put a lot of ice. Honestly, sometimes we nitpick about the smoothie is not going to be perfect, but it's going to be fuel, right? The oatmeal is going to be cold, but it's going to be fuel. These cookies are really great. I'm going to put this recipe up, but it's a great opportunity for you to have these little things. Like you have to bite-size food that is next to you, or somebody brings you, or one day I'm going to get up, next day your spouse or your kid is going to designate days for everybody to be bringing suhoor to the other people. So that way everybody gets a full, a day where they rest. And so, but strategize, right? in my ebook, my Ramadan ebook, I made sure I included tons of strategies for people so that they're able to make these decisions and ahead of Ramadan and during Ramadan, so they can focus on the ibadah instead of just focusing on something like, being in the kitchen all the time or worrying, oh my God, I didn't eat suhoor, now I'm starving and I'm going to eat whatever is in front of me during iftar.
So that's so true because smoothies are helpful. However, before I used to do a lot of like sugary, fruity, but this year I'm going to try my best. I know, but I'm going to try to do the veggie ones. But because I did it overnight, it wasn't that fresh. That's why I was asking you on how to keep it fresh if you do it in advance.
Right. So for me, what I do is I put it in a bottle that I can shake because you want to emulsify it, right? You want to bring it back together. What the blender does, it makes it smooth one time, right? So the thing is, it's not going to be as perfect as when you made it the first time, but put it in like not a water bottle, but like one of those cups with a lid, and then shake it so you're able, or a jar, a glass mason jar, and shake it so that you're doing the emulsification and you're bringing all the ingredients back together, and it's a bit smoother and it's not broken down. But what happens with the smoothie is, for me, I like to pack it with flavor, right? So a lot of the times people, when they put a ton of vegetables, they forget that you have to build flavor in your smoothie. So if you put berries and like, let's say berry spinach, I make the smoothie that I add a little bit of something else. Sometimes it's almond butter to sort of like add a creaminess, or avocado, because you need these healthy fats to function, right? A lot of people are afraid of fats, but quality fats are really important for your brain health, for your body's health, and they give you lasting energy, especially during Ramadan. So make sure that you're adding things, and then, things that you love. Like, don't be afraid of, for me, there are times when I put a little spice in my, like cinnamon, and if you're making a creamier almond butter, flaxseed, avocado, not avocado, spinach. You can't even taste the spinach. It literally tastes like a peanut butter smoothie or whatever. But it's so good. You just got to think of ways to add, which is why I believe in recipe developing, because I want people to have like recipes that they enjoy. Food for me is about enjoyment. It doesn't matter. Healthy should taste great. If anybody tells you otherwise, don't believe them.
So that's so true. Catherine and I talked about smoothies, and she suggested Simple Green Spoons on Instagram with amazing recipes. So I'm going to try my best to also try that out. But thank you for your tips and the reminders about what to include into smoothies and spice it up. That's interesting. I haven't heard that yet.
I want to give you a quick, okay, so beets, right? A lot of people are afraid of beets.
Yes.
But beets are really high in iron, right? And if you get the frozen beets at the grocery store, they're frozen right when they're fresh, and you add a mango, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dates are really good. You can add almond butter because it takes away from that earthiness of the the beet. So you kind of balance that, and then put spinach and whatever liquid you like, and that's a really good smoothie. I mean, it doesn't sound like it would taste that great, but it really does. Dishes are important. Chia puddings are important. Chia pudding really helps draw all the toxins out. That it's the little, like, it gets tapioca like, and it literally like draws everything towards it. That little, like, when it becomes that, when it picks up the fluid, and it helps move things along in your body. So anybody who's suffering from constipation, please have some chia seeds in water, and your life will be changed. Allow the chia seeds to sit for 20 minutes and then drink that, and then do that every night after iftar, after tarawih. You will see a huge difference in your digestion.
Inshallah. So then I believe I tried, I think it's flax seed that I have at home, and someone also told me about them, and they did actually create a little bit of constipation / inflammation. So what are your thoughts about it?
For me, flax seeds are really great healthy fat. They're brain food. So you don't have to put too much. For people who don't enjoy flaxseed, I would use anywhere from a teaspoon to a tablespoon. You need to ground it. When you grind it up yourself in your spice grinder, just put it in glass jar in a dark space in your fridge, because it's a fat, so it goes rancid right? So you want to make sure you're protecting that. I've never had anybody who's experienced difficulties with it, but if it's not working for you, I would completely remove it and see how you feel, and then use other form of fats. There's avocado, there's hemp oil, there is, you could add black seed, hapu soda, like the
Mm-hmm.
nigella seed, black seed. You could add it. This is actually a great place to add it. Smoothies are great because it hides the taste, because the taste is not always pleasant, right? So, but that oil has incredible, amazing benefits, as we all know, right? And it's a sunnah food, so add it to your smoothies, and again replaces the flaxseed.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that. That's why I eliminated it. That's a great tip. Thank you so much for sharing. So then, how do you eliminate overeating during Ramadan?
So how do we prevent overeating?
Yeah.
During Ramadan, for me, there's 3 simple things, right? One is making sure I start with warm water or room temp water, because I want to wake up my digestion gently. I want to start the digestion process, and because you gotta and add a little bit of lemon in your water, because it will help you wake up your liver and your digestion and alkalize and all of that good stuff. But number 2, dates are amazing, super packed with everything that you need. That's why it's a sunnah food, because it has potassium, which is electrolyte. It has simple sugars, which gives you quick energy. It's hydrating. It's an incredible fruit that really is subhanallah. When I think about our deen and I think about all the ways it's a holistic religion, it covers everything. Everything has a purpose and a meaning. And so, and I know a lot of people say because it's a sunnah food, they could have it as much as they can, as much as they want. And because when they're fasting, they've been fasting, so now they can have as many dates as they like. But dates are really high in sugar. So, and you shouldn't have more than 3 maximum. That's if you can have 1, stop. And stop there, because that's all you need, because there's more food available. There's no scarcity here. And then move on to the soup. Soups are such nourishing, amazing foods. It's a plate that is packed with fruits. You could put protein. It's warm. It's incredible. And when you have that first, before the fried food, you're not going to be as hungry. So when you go and reach out to have some dessert or fried food, you're already full. You've had water, you had date, you had soup. This is the way you could do portion control for me.
So I actually found out recently, a few years ago, that the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to break his fast with a date and milk, not just water, like milk. And I've been trying that. It's very interesting. And then also with soups, we have kubba at home and the whole samosa and all that stuff. So we usually have soup with kubba or samosa. So you're also a fan of that it's okay to have 1 or 2 or maximum 3.
So if you have the soup, right, first, fully have the soup, finish your soup.
But we have it together. That's the problem. We have it's like a traditional Syrian dish that comes together, especially with short ladas, the lentil soup. Yeah. It's like a traditional to have it with kubbe. You cannot have it separate.
So do you put the kubbe it's inside already, or you break it in?
So for example, I know you're not supposed to eat with the left hand, but I'm just saying, for example, your right hand is the soup, the spoon with the soup, and then your left hand is the kubba, so you can eat it in the right hand.
So you bite
it's together. Yeah, it's just
So, but the kubbe is the protein, even though it's fried, right?
Yeah, it's not that bad. It depends on how you cook it, obviously, but I'm just saying that with the soup, usually there are people who have it alongside with the appetizer.
Right. We also serve the same. So maybe it's not kubbe, but it's also samosas. So you have the samosas available. So usually most people, what they do, they have the samosas first and then whatever else, right? So what I'm saying is, if you're going to have the kubbe, just have more of the soup first.
Right.
And because what the soup does, it gives you nutrients and it fills you up with really nutrient-dense fuel. And then here you are, you're still enjoying by creating moderation. You're enjoying the kibbeh, but you're not going to be overeating it. Because I guarantee you, if you had a choice between the kibbeh or the soup, you would have the kibbeh. Like, it's so much, anything fried tastes that
Right.
much better.
Yes.
So you gotta preempt that by saying to yourself, I mean, you have to go into it with a plan and a system. We're gonna start this way, and then I'm gonna have a bite of this so I don't feel deprived. Deprivation is not the answer, because as soon as something is like you can't have this, all you want to do is have that thing. So don't create this list of like bad and good foods, because the bad foods are going to stay on your mind. It's like literally like a challenge to your brain, like, oh, I can't have this, and now it's all I can think about. What you want to do is just say to yourself, I'm going to have this, but I'll have it later. Let me just have this first.
Yes, preach it. Girl, deprivation is not the answer, because it's so true. And that's what led me with my eating disorders in the past is deprivation. Like, oh, I cannot eat this. Oh my gosh. And it's a whole mindset shift. So I like what you say, to start off with the soup first, and then allow yourself to enjoy the bite of the samosa and what have you, and then continue on with your iftar.
Yes, it really is water, date, soup. And then whatever else is available. By then, it's already prayer time. By then, you've already filled yourself up. By then, you'll notice. And then when you start feeling better, it's not going to be something that you have to think so hard about. You know what I mean? I would add to this, make sure that you pack a snack to go to the masjid for Tarawih. Don't leave your house without that snack, because there's stuff available at the masjid that are not really the best options.
Right.
And so it's not something that you should, like, if you have your own snack available, you're going to turn to that first, and that is going to be packed with nutrients. And then whether it's fruit or you take your, some granola or trail mix, or whether you take, a yogurt with, whatever it is that we're packing that day, we just take that with us. I like these energy balls that I pack. They taste good. They feel like dessert, but they're also like giving me tons of energy. They're protein packed. And then you pray, you're hungry, you have something, and then if somebody offers you might take one, but you're not going to have like 10, So the goal is balance, balance, balance.
Love it. And inshallah, our masajids will become more and more healthier as we continue living our life.
Right?
Because it's so true. Like you hear all over the place, like, oh, this must only serve this much, and then the food runs out really fast, and this and that. And so inshallah, we're on the right track by having you, for example, on and so forth. So then, any final tips, recommendations, anything I should have asked that I didn't ask that you would like to mention?
Right. So few things I would like to mention. Meal plan. Meal planning doesn't mean staying in the kitchen an entire day to make a ton of different things. Make your broth, your base for your soup. Make it ahead. Put it in the freezer. Make that available to you. So that way, when you need a quick soup or when you have guests, you don't have to slave away in the kitchen and then you don't have energy to do any of your ibadah. Make sure that you cut up like things like onions and like peppers and all of these vegetables ahead of time and put it in your fridge. Put them in Ziploc bags because they take less space. Put that in your fridge so that way when you need to make something quick, you already have done half the work. So you're not, again, in the kitchen all your time. Make sure you're listening to podcasts when you're doing your cooking. Make sure that in your cars, there's lectures, things that are nourishing you spiritually, and make sure that you're taking your snacks. Cucumber and hummus, dips and like vegetables are great examples of beautiful snacks to take with you to the masjid. Offer it to other people because you can change how they feel about their snacks as well. Take your snacks to your masjid because you can change how somebody likes snacks as well, right? You can offer them a new way of seeing what snacks looks like. Like I said, I love cucumber and like carrots and little things like that. And dips, I do a bean dip or hummus or, like there's so many options. Brownie, like I do these brownie protein bars that I've included in the book. There is stuffed dates, things like that are like, bringing protein and with your snacks. I want to make sure that I mention also when you have your iftar, have it like it's a starter. It's not like a full meal, right? And then you take a snack to the masjid. And when you come back, have like the dinner portion. Don't include them all at once, because your stomach needs to digest things in, like, you got to give it small little things so it can digest. Don't allow yourself, don't do this whole like one sit down big meal, because your body can't handle that. It's like, if you were to fill a bucket, and I don't even know how to explain it, and it had a small hole, like it takes time to empty that bucket, right? So just put a little bit at a time in your stomach to improve your digestion process, and this will give you great energy and you will feel so much better. Hydrate, please. Flavor your water. Make sure you put chia seeds in there, lemon. I put rosemary sometimes. I put mint. I put fruits. Make sure your water tastes as good as you can, so that way you're getting the best. You're reaching for water instead of any other thing. Herbal teas, because they're not dehydrating. Try to stay away from coffee, because it will really prevent you from sleeping, and you need the rest, and you already have limited amounts of sleep hours.
That's great. And I love how you mentioned the digestion part, because it is so true. We don't want to eat all at once, and that brings the whole aspect of snacking. So even if you don't go to the masjid, because I don't really go to the masjid that much myself, even at home, if you're going to pray at home, tarawih and what have you, you can snack in between your prayers, the sit of rakats that you're doing. So
Yes.
I just want to emphasize that, because oftentimes we think, oh, masjid, but there are many people out there, including myself, who either have limited access to the masjid for whatever reasons. So emphasize the importance that you can still do it at home, and inshallah, or at work if you are a nighttime shift working. And so yeah.
Sorry. One other thing I want to mention: when you're going grocery shopping, please take a list. Do not go, because you're going to be fasting and you're already hungry. So you're going to pick up everything in those aisles that you shouldn't. So make sure you have a plan. Go to the store knowing exactly what's in your fridge, what you have, and then take that with you. The list really makes a huge difference in how you shop.
Okay. Yes. So you can listen to the episode with Catherine, because she also shared amazing tips on how to meal plan and prep, especially as a mom. So Idil, would you please tell us, where can we get your book and how can we stay in contact with you?
Okay, so the book you can get, it's called Ramadan for Us, because that's really where it is. You can find it on my website. You can find it on my Instagram. There's a link in my bio. Please check it out. This is really important. Ramadan changed my life, and I really, not in more ways than one, I should say, but it really, in health, from the health perspective, which is what we're talking about today, is really, really important to really get the best and the most out of your fast. So that's why I wrote that guide or program. And you could reach me on idilsworld.com. My email is nutrition@idilsworld.com. My Instagram is idilworld. Twitter, idilsworld. Facebook, it's the same. You can find me under Idil Farah, so IDIL, last name FARAH.
Inshallah. And before we leave, you can tell us about your Ramadan ebook, because I know you collaborated with another person, and it's really nice to see you guys come together. So what is actually inside your ebook? It's not just the nutrition meal plan. I know it comes with more than that.
It's a full program, because one of the things we found for most people, and being a mom and being someone who works and who has a business, life doesn't stop because you're fasting and it's Ramadan. And the challenge is finding the balance and finding, not leaving Ramadan feeling like you could have done more, because we are blessed and lucky. We've won the lottery to have made it another year. So for me, it was really important for all the moms, all the people out there who needed strategies, methods, ways, tips to improve their productivity, to improve their, we've addressed everything from lonely mom syndrome to like just being alone by yourself during Ramadan, ways to like manage your time, how to fit in ibadahs, what are the best books out there, reading list for kids, for adults, podcasts, worksheets, goal setting, all of that. And then the nutrition part, which is, meal planning tips. There is 28 recipes book in there. That includes 7 different basically your suhoor, your snack, your dinner, your iftar. Also, like I included a shopping guide, a menu, like a full menu, 7-day meal planning menu, like tells you exactly what to eat for those people who need a little more guidance. And then ones that you could plan for yourselves, coloring for kids and adults, for relaxation, and just for like basically activities to do with your kids, because you want your kids to be a part of this. But this was entire like a guide that was meant to make Ramadan manageable, to make you feel like you've left Ramadan better than you came into it, right? Because that's the whole point for all of us, to leave Ramadan enriched physically, mentally, spiritually, all the way around.
And inshallah, I love that. And everything will in the show notes. You guys go follow her on Instagram. She's amazing stories and feed as well. Thank you so much, Il. This was so much fun. And I wish you and your family a blessed Ramadan. And may Allah make this Ramadan really successful and blessing for all of us. Ameen.
Ameen, Ya Allah. I want to say thank you, Allah, for having me. I really appreciate coming on and connecting with your audience. And I'm praying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes this Ramadan your best Ramadan yet. May Allah like answer your du'as and rain his blessings on you. And, I look forward to connecting with everyone who reaches out, text me, email me, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Ameen, inshallah. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe today and leave a 5-star review. You can also screenshot and share this episode with a family or a friend. Be strong, be fit for Akhirah.